everybody. I am Trey Reckliffe. We're here having another hangout. I think we're at number 12. And I invited all kinds of people, old faces and new faces, for you to get to know new photographers and hang out with some of the old personalities that you know and love. People like Thomas Hawk and Nicole and all kinds of others in here. So let's do what we always do. We jump around and have introductions. And so let's start with the cool and sometimes callous Thomas Hawk.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Thomas. Good. How are you?
Good. Doing a little hangout tonight, which is always good. I have my daughter Holly's here with me.
Good. You're +1 there.
Yeah. Yeah. So excited to hang out tonight, and we're talking about photography and pictures and all that good stuff.
That's right. You don't need to even say your website or your Google. Everyone knows you. Or,
well, I don't know about that, but no. Usually just Google Thomas Hawk and they all come up. All the various places.
No, you're becoming ubiquitous. Like everyone calls Kleenex, right? Instead of tissue paper. So this is photography. This is Thomas Hawk. You're like this Uber brand. So anyway, happy to see you. Let's say hi to someone that joined us, Thomas, on several photo walks, Erica. Hello, Erica.
Oh, there. Unmuted. Yep, I hear you. I had to unmute. Hey, so I'm Erica. I work at Google, and I take pictures sometimes. I don't think I'm the caliber of photographer that most of the people here are, but I'm trying to get there.
No, all levels are welcome. What do you have a website or a portfolio? Anything you want to share? Or
my website is ericabaker.com, but you won't find any photos there. I generally post all my pictures on Google Plus. My name there is Erica Joy.
Okay, thanks, Erica. Let's say hi to Nicole. Hey, Nicole.
Hey.
How are you?
It's a chill night here in Seattle. Just kind of chilling and drinking wine.
Cool. How is your book selling?
As far as I know, it's doing really well. But I don't really find out until like the quarterly statements come in my mail.
Slow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have one nearby you can hold up for people to see?
Somewhat semi-nearby. Give me like half a second.
Okay. She does a mad marketing dash to the right to sell a few Amazon books. Everyone should go buy her book. I know how hard these things are to make, so everyone go buy it because these things are a beast to make.
Yeah, it's a food photography book, so I have a food photo to share too.
Oh, good.
Later on.
Yeah, we're all going to be sharing photos and talking about them and this sort of thing.
Her photos make me so hungry.
Yeah, food photos they're dangerous. Let's say hi to James Brandon from Digital Photography School and Other Pursuits. Hey, James.
Hey, man, how's it going? Thanks for having me. I'm James Brandon. I'm a photographer in Fort Worth, just a little north of Trey. I have a website. It's james-brandon.com. So that's where you can find me. And I wrote a book for Trey recently, too, so you can go check that out at Flatbooks.
Yeah, it's a good book. Thank you, James. Let's say hi to Lotus. Hello, Lotus, with the bow in the hair.
Hello. Oh, it's a flower.
It's a flower, sorry.
Hey, I live in Austin. I blog photography and parenting stuff at sarcasticmom.com. And I am a photographer. Put most of my photos on G Plus nowadays, but I do have a Flickr account too. And easily go to my page on G Plus and go to my About section, and you can see all the other places that I am on the web. I'm all over the place.
You are all over the place. Good to see you.
You too.
In a good way. Let's say hi to Cliff. Hey, Cliff, how are you?
Hey, Trey, how's it going tonight?
Good.
Good. I'm Cliff. I'm here in Arlington, Texas, just down the street from James. I'm the photographer for Justin Boots. I do product photography and some lifestyle for them, and also do a lot of graphic design work and stuff like that for those guys. They keep me pretty busy. So this is where I work, out of my home studio. So that's pretty much what I do. They give me the ability to travel and take some cool photos other than just boots all the time. So that's what I like to do.
Excellent. Good to see you, Cliff. Hey, Dave. Hey, Dave, say hello. So if you guys don't know, Dave is the one that does all the hard work, kind of the producing and getting all this set up, and then I just show up at the last minute and say stupid things. But Dave is really the brains behind it all. So hello, Dave.
Thank you, Trey. How you doing?
Hi. Tell us what you do, Dave.
I am the IT guy / Photoshop monkey at a commercial photography studio in New Jersey.
All right. Have we gotten you a job at Smug Mug yet?
Not yet, but hopefully soon, maybe.
I think I'll keep mentioning that every hangout until that happens.
That works for me.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
I actually met with some of them today at the Photo Plus Expo.
Oh, good. What was that like? What was the Photo Plus like?
It was pretty cool. They had, all the major companies, photography related, are there showing off all their wares, and it's kind of cool. Like, especially if you like tripods or backpacks or whatever, you can actually go around and look at the product instead of just reading about it and touch it and feel it. And everybody's just pushing their stuff, and a lot of people doing cool presentations. And I met up with my buddy Brian Matish, who was education manager at On One, and got to see him in action a little bit. So that was fun.
So did you come away from that feeling like you want to buy all this equipment and get bags and really get into it, or were you just overwhelmed?
Neither. I already have the bag I want and the tripod I want and all that, but it is nice to see it all.
Cool. And last, let's say hi to Keith. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Trey. How you doing?
Good. You spent the day at Disney today?
No, I spent the day at NASA. They had
NASA.
Yeah, they had. This is the last weekend for the Star Trek exposition they have there. So I got to see the bridge of the original series Enterprise and stuff like that, and took a lot of photographs, which I haven't uploaded yet. But
is it like a recreation of the bridge, or
yeah,
the bridge?
I believe so. It wasn't. It was very well done. It was lit up and everything, but it wasn't lit up the same way as it was in the show.
Yeah. Did you get to sit in Kirk's chair or anything?
Oh yeah, I did, and I got a photograph of that. So.
All right. Did you do the sideways lean and the grimace into the screen?
I tried to do as much as I could.
Yeah. You can't overact enough. You gotta amp it up when you're in his chair.
That's what I figured. It was a one-shot deal. It was the first time it was in Florida, and the last weekend it was here. So. Cool.
All right. Well, let's jump right into photo sharing. I'm always interested in seeing what people are working on, and I think it's different to show a picture and hear the voice, hear people talk about it, rather than just write a paragraph about it, because you can hear things in the way people describe things and the way they emphasize certain bits. So we'll kind of go in a random order. I didn't really prepare anybody, so I hope everyone's ready on a second's notice. So let's start with Thomas. He's always got something pretty to share.
Share some photos. Okay, so let's do the old share screen trick here.
That's one of your photos back there of a Banksy shot, right?
Oh yeah, that's background. We're remodeling the house, so that's why it's all on 2x4s. But that's Banksy graffiti. So this will look nice when it's framed. It's got a guy painting it on a wall, and I liked it a lot. I thought it'd be interesting to frame it, so I put sort of an old school through the viewfinder type frame on the edge of it and printed it up 44 by 44 inches. So I think I want to put it in a real frame, but let's see. I've got this big Epson 9800 printer behind me that can go up to 44 inches. So it's a fun toy. Okay, share selected window.
Good. We see your
you
shot there. Yeah.
Yeah, so these were, I guess I'll start over here. This is the first photograph. Photograph of the Highland Park station, the Metro Rail down in Los Angeles. And I took this shot a few years back when we did a photo walk in Hollywood, and I thought it was interesting to talk about because this week the ACLU announced that they're suing the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. over photographers' rights. And in this exact station was where one of the major altercations was, which was caught on video and was put up on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know Discarded, but he's got a website up that focuses on photographers' rights and things like that.
I watched it today.
Yeah, he had a run-in with them, and he videotaped this deputy sheriff who just now, the stuff he was saying to him, you watch the video and it's kind of unbelievable. But I've been detained down in Long Beach before shooting the refineries down there and told I couldn't shoot them from a public sidewalk, and had the FBI come to my house after that and got put on the TSA do not fly list and all that stuff. So I think this is an interesting photograph because it's architecturally beautiful and it shows why people would want to photograph in a place like a train station. And I think it is nice to see the ACLU sort of step up and say, hey, if we're out there with our cameras and taking pictures, the police don't have a right to harass us. So this lawsuit, they're seeking money damages, but I think they're also trying to create a precedent where the police are going to lighten up, at least down in LA. So I thought that was an appropriate, timely photograph.
Cool.
So the next photograph I have here, this is a photograph in Death Valley, where they have some just amazing roads that are just kind of ripple through the highway and great perspective. And I'm bringing this one up because we're doing a Death Valley trip. As a couple of you know, because you're going to be on the trip, right, guys?
The two guys are coming from here. At least Cliff is going, and so is James Brandon.
Yep, they're both going, and we've got about 21 other people signed up at this point. We're going to kind of take over the Atomic Inn there in Beatty, which is on the northeastern sort of side of Death Valley. And we're going to do 2 great days of shooting there. Actually 3. We'll do Friday, do some stuff Friday night, and then Saturday and Sunday. And everybody's welcome. I think we've just about sold out the Atomic Inn, but there's the El Porto Motel in town, and I think there's a Motel 6 too, so it's reasonably inexpensive. And we're going to get a bunch of photographers together and have a great Google Plus weekend. Brian Rose is coming up from Google Photos, and so that's going to be fun. So that was why I wanted to show that one. And let's see.
Excellent. Hey, one thing you could throw in, Thomas. I know I personally don't care so much about this, but I know a lot of people do. They want to know the lens and that sort of thing,
Yeah, so that last shot, the Death Valley, I shot that with my 135 f2, which is my favorite lens that Canon makes. And basically, I shot it while I was driving through the window. So I do that a lot. And I shoot straight through the window. There's no cars around, and they got these great roads, and I probably took a couple hundred photographs that day down the road. Cool. This other photograph, the first photograph I took the 14 millimeter lens, I believe, which is my ultra wide angle. So the bokeh shot, I brought this up. I post a lot of out of focus stuff that I purposely sort of put out of focus. This is on Broadway in Nashville. And Trey, we've talked about this before. I mean, inevitably the focus police show up,
Yeah.
They get really worked up. They get really upset. It's like, why are you publishing this? This bothers me.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, Thomas, do you have the same? I know you have the same kind of eye condition that I do, where you just see out of one eye. But I wonder if a lot of times when I look at the world, I'm just naturally out of focus because that's the relaxed part of my eye. And then I have to actually work hard to focus on things. So that's why I love this stuff, because that's just actually how I see the world most of the time.
Yeah, I see it that way a lot too. For me, a lot of what it is, sometimes I think if you get something in focus, it really detracts from that scene, because now you're looking at what's in it. And really what I want people to see is I want them to see the amazing color or the form or something else besides the detail of neon signs and car lights here. So, we have a little sunset going on, and it's on Broadway, which has wonderful neon signs in Nashville. And so oftentimes, I'll just flip to that. And I do see it, I'm like you, Trey. As you know, we both shoot with our left eye, and we both our right eye is both bad. And I've always, I see in 2-dimensional. I don't see in 3-dimensional because one of my eyes doesn't work. And photographs are 2-dimensional. So I've always found it interesting that frequently how I see something in real life is how it looks in a photograph. So
That's interesting that you showed that photo when we're talking about that, because actually a couple of the photos that I was going to show tonight were really shallow depth of focus, and I was going to mention that same thing because I have noticed around G Plus the reaction that's kind of happening in comments on photos like that, and when I post them myself, I get people saying like, this photo looks like you just don't even know how to use a camera. And
right.
it's a photo that I thought was really beautiful. So
did you lose your glasses? Did you just come out of the bar? Did you?
Yeah, and so that so I wonder, because I also I've kind of seen some things recently where people were questioning whether a photo is over processed or whatever, and it made me have this, I don't know, I guess it's the age old question of what is actually art, but
yeah, just ignore those people, because those comments are laced with such condescension.
I totally
it is
agree.
absurd how people say these things. I just ignore them, and it makes, I eat my tears, and it makes me stronger.
Well, I think, in addition to the sort of the focus police, Trey, and I've seen this with your work for years, and even this last week somebody posted something up, but where they say, oh my God, the HDR, it's over-processed, blah. And I've said this before, but it kind of reminds me, if we go back in time, well, I guess two things to that. One, the public loves it. They cannot get enough of it. It seems like there's just this sort of fringe element of photographers that just somehow it irritates them. But for the audience, they can't get enough of it. And just like people will say, oh, Coldplay is terrible, blah blah blah, because they're popular. I think that's some of that. But I think the other thing is, I think new styles in photography come around over time. And when I think about HDR and some of the stuff that you're doing there, I don't do much HDR, but I'm reminded that when William Eggleston, who was a huge influence of mine, did his first show at the MoMA in New York, people hated it. Critics denounced it. Everybody was upset. How could you possibly have color photography in a fine art museum? And Ansel Adams wrote a famous letter where he just, this letter to the museum where he was just irate and beside himself. Like, how could you possibly do this? And, and now today, William Eggleston's considered one of the greatest masters of photography who's ever lived. It just took time. And I think with new styles of photography, when you get that, sometimes it does take time. But, I'm with you. I think you get a lot of these critics out there. And, I kind of don't care if they don't like it or not. I'm still going to publish what I want. So.
Yeah, there's no pleasing everybody. Like I remember on your blog, Trey, a while back. It was a long time ago, I think, but you put somebody's comment up like for the world to see, and it was hilarious because he was calling you out for having everything in focus in the scene, and he was saying how ridiculous that was and how a photograph is supposed to have depth of field and part of it's supposed to be blurry, and he was calling you a bad photographer for using infinite focus.
It's usually the guy who's calling you out too, who's like, if you look at their work, it's like horrendous.
I just have a huge problem with anybody saying what art of any kind is supposed to be like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, art's personal. I've got a quote on my Google Plus profile page and on my Flickr profile page from Andy Warhol that basically says, don't worry what people say about your art, and while they're debating whether it's good art or bad art, go out and create more art. And, I just think at least for me, I disregard a lot of the criticism when I get it. It's just kind of like, oh well. So this next shot is of the band Young the Giant, and I took this I guess about a month ago at Austin City Limits Music Festival, and I was there with Lotus, who's here, and our friend Robert Scoble. And I love shooting live music. I like to shoot a lot of different things, a lot of different styles, and this band was particularly animated. And
They were great, yeah.
they work great. So I mean, he's screaming into the microphone, and Dell was nice enough to bring us down there and got us photo passes and stuff like that, which I really appreciate. But we got some great live music shots, and I particularly like this one, and so I wanted to share that. And then the last one I was going to share, I wanted to show this because I took this photograph with my newest toy, which is the Canon 8 to 15 millimeter fisheye. So what better thing to take a picture of with a fisheye than the cliche and eye? So this was a woman at Decompression, which is a Burning Man event in the city, and I'm excited. I'm going to go to Burning Man next year. Trey, I loved your stuff from Burning Man this year, and I've never shot it, but I'm excited to go next year, and looking forward to that. And so this lens, the Street Festival, which is kind of like Burning Man in the city on a smaller degree, everybody gets dressed up, and this woman had her face paint on, and I took this new fisheye that I had that I can't get enough of. I'm shooting everything with it. Just got about, it must have been a centimeter from the eye. The lens is practically touching it. Just got right in there. I thought it made for a great wide angle fisheye because she had that makeup on and went out in every direction. So, so those are sort of 5 photos. Some I've taken recently or around things I'm going to be doing recently.
Cool. Thank you. Good stuff, as always. How many do you post on Google Plus a day, by the way?
I post, generally speaking, I post 5 shots to Google Plus a day.
Yeah.
So I try to process at least 350 photographs a week in Lightroom. So I'm working right now in St. Louis, and I think I've got about 420 from one of my day's shoots there. And then I throw them all into a big bin, and that's got about 9,000 photographs right now, or of what I consider sort of my better photographs. And then I just kind of randomly pull each day from those for Google Plus.
Yeah.
So
cool. Let's jump to James. James from DPS, Digital Photography School. With the credentials like that, James, we need to see some good stuff.
I'll do my best. Well, I just got back from a trip to Italy, so I'll put this one up first. Can you guys see everything?
Yes. We're all jealous, too. I speak for everybody.
Oh, my gosh. It was incredible. So, yeah, I went up there to shoot a wedding for an old client and friend, and I went ahead and just took my wife along and made a little vacation out of it, because how could you not, you know? But there's this place in Italy called Cinque Terre, and it's like these 5 little towns on the northwest coast. And this town here in this image is called Rio Maggiore, and that's where we stayed, and it was literally just one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. And they're all these nice little quaint fishing towns, and this one more so than the others, but they've got all these little boats out here, and these people and these that own these boats live in these little houses, and that's literally their livelihood, is they just go out and fish every day, and then, you know, sell the fish to the markets around. And what's really sad actually is that about I think less than a week ago they had one of the worst floods in history in this region. So now all these towns are basically wiped out. And if you look online and Google it, you can see all the images. But most of these, you know, docks and all the boats are washed away, and there's millions of dollars in damages. But it's just crazy that I was there less than, you know, 4 weeks ago. So, but yeah, I edited this in a Hangout that me and my buddy Jacob Lucas have been holding the past few weeks, where we just kind of post-process our way through images, and people can ask questions along the way. And this was 2 exposures. So I took one really quick exposure for the water to freeze it, and it was first thing in the morning, so I had to crank my ISO up to like 800, I believe, and I shot it wide open at 2.8. to freeze the boats in there. And then I did a long exposure at f/18, I believe, to get the city and to get the little starbursts and the lights and everything. And then I just blended them together manually in Photoshop to get what you see here. So that was a little fun just to kind of go through there and show people how Photoshop can do stuff like that. But we'll move on to the next one.
Good. That was very pretty, by the way.
Thank you. So this is in California. My wife has family up in San Luis Obispo, so we go up there as often as we can. And this is Morro Bay. So this is kind of the same thing. I took a few different exposures, and I've just kind of been playing a lot. I don't know if you ever do that, Trey, but manually blending exposures in Photoshop rather than going through like Photomatics or anything like that.
Sure, I do everything, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's not. I still love Photomatics and use it often, but I always try to kind of push myself outside my comfort zone and try something new. And so I've been playing around with this thing called luminosity masking, where you kind of just basically do what Photomatics does, but use luminosity masks in Photoshop. So I like the effect that it's been given. So that this one of the
so
things.
But when you say luminosity masking, do you mean you layer two photos and then you set the top layer blend mode to luminosity and then you mask it into the previous photo?
No, it's really cool. You take all your brackets into Photoshop and you start with the brightest one on the bottom, and then you go to your channels and select your RGB channel. And if you hold down Command on a Mac, which I guess would be Control, right, on a PC, and click the RGB layer, it creates a luminosity selection, which means it just selects the brightest pixels, like anything, right, I believe, brighter than 50% gray. And then you go up to the next layer, the next darkest one, and select that, and then add a mask based on the selection from the previous layer. And then it brings the light from the layer beneath it up to that one. You kind of just mask through what looks good and take out what doesn't, and then you just repeat the process all the way up through the brackets. So it kind of just gives a slightly different look to it, and you have more control over the process. And there's a lot of other stuff you can do with it too, like creating outlines and stuff to find the edges using luminosity masks, and then you can use that to create sharpening masks and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of possibilities with it. Anyways, this one was Morro Rock, like I said, and it was really cool because I've been to Morro Bay in that area about 5 or 6 times, and I've never been there when there wasn't fog over this rock. There's always fog here. A lot of people call it Morbid Bay because there's never any light, and so it's always overcast. So it was really cool to see this completely clear. And let's see here, go on to the next one. So this one I also took in California at kind of close to Morro Bay. This was Avila Beach. And I'm actually updating your ebook, Trey, right now. I'm in the process of it. So I think this is going to be the new cover for the revised edition. Because I think it did a good job of going, I kind of used everything I talked about in the book to get this image. So this was with a 70-200 lens, and I just set up on the dock in Avila Beach and just kind of took my time and waited for the right moment. So these excuse me, they were flying all over the place, and I just, every time one would come by, I would just track it, and I used single point focus and servo focus tracking, and just set my camera to take multiple shots. And I have a 1DS that shoots like 5 frames a second, so it's not the fastest thing out there, but it's pretty quick. So as they would fly by, I would just spray 5 frames a second as it went by, and just made sure that my depth of field was where I wanted it, and I got just enough blur in the image to keep the bird sharp but blur out the water in the background. So I got the image I was looking for. This is one of my photos of from an air show here in Fort Worth. So I'm really starting to get into aviation photography. It's kind of a new endeavor for me. My father-in-law recently bought an airplane, and I'm in the process of getting my private pilot's license right now. So obviously, I have a new obsession with aviation. So
Cool. Did you see in Stuck on Earth we have that top 50 air shows around the world list?
No, I didn't see that.
Yes.
I saw,
So
like, the
if you
50
press home and then you start looking through all our top 50 lists, there's a top 50 air shows.
Really cool.
You'll love
Yeah,
it.
I'll definitely check that out. But yeah, I mean, I just love it. There's so much you can do, and you know, I know I'll be able to incorporate my photography business into it, doing aerial stuff and whatnot. But this was from the Fort Worth Alliance Air Show, and they had the F-22 Raptor out, and that thing just. I didn't even understand anything about aviation when I took this, and I still knew that it was just doing crazy maneuvers and defying the laws of physics, and it's really cool to watch. But this was the same as my last shot as far as the lens. I used a 70-200 and slowed down the shutter speed a bit to blur out the sky, and then I did a little bit of extra blur in Photoshop, just added some motion blur to the background, and I believe I used program like Topaz Remask or something to make a selection around the jet and remove it, and then I filled it in and then blurred the background and then placed the plane back where it was. But it was a very subtle, you know, change. But I just like Photoshop because you can do stuff like that if you feel like it. So
It's a great one.
thanks. And I think this is number 5. I have more, but I'll stop here. This was here in Fort Worth, and Cliff was with me during this shot. So there's this crazy place in Fort Worth that nobody knows about, but it's massive. It's this whole city that's been abandoned since the 70s, and it was built in the early 1900s. And it's actually responsible for the stockyards in Fort Worth being called Cowtown. It was all these meat packing plants by this company called Armour and Swift. And it's this whole city, and there's I think there's 20 remaining buildings on this site, and it's just to the west of the stockyards. And a lot of people drive by and they never really think to investigate it. But you know, I saw it, and Cliff and I got together with a couple of other guys, and we basically snuck in because we exhausted all of our efforts to get permission to come in. We just got the runaround around, you know, who owns it and who could get us in, and we talked to a lot of other photographers who had gone in, and they never ran into any trouble or anything like that. So we had the same experience though, but this was the main floor of one of the main meat packing plants, and it's just completely in ruin right now. And you know, you can see the ceiling is all falling apart. That's because they had a massive fire back in like the 80s, and since it's a meat packing plant, they had about 50 or 60 years worth of animal fat build up in the basement. So that fire wouldn't go out for about 3 to 4 weeks. I was just reading on in some newspaper articles from it. So they just had to let it burn because the fire department couldn't put it out. So it was probably very disgusting. But
Probably smelled good.
yeah. Yeah, Cliff and I went down into the basement. I posted an image from the basement on my Google Plus stream today. It was pretty scary down there because there was no light, and it's obvious that people go down there a lot. And you know, Cliff got a shot of some candles. Maybe we'll show that one, but people hold like seances down there and stuff, and it's just not a good feeling. So we were pretty fortunate to get out without running into anybody.
Are people down there stealing the fat to make soap like they did in Fight Club?
I think all the fat's gone after that fire. But there's just creepy. There's like meat hooks down there and a walk-in freezer that's been, you know, empty since whenever it went out, and it's just.
You should add it to Trey's Stuck on Earth app.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I finally got it working today, so I'll definitely be working on my 50 whatever I can come up with. So, but yeah, I'll stop there and hand it over to somebody else.
Well, let's segue to we're talking about meat and stuff over to Nicole. She can show us some of her photos of food.
Yeah, it's
food.
about food. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead.
The food was the subject of the segue.
Sure. Let me go ahead and move screens around here. Sure.
Do you have multiple monitors there?
I do.
What
You
is your
guys-
setup?
Is that working all right for you guys? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we see your
Yeah.
Lightroom.
Cool. I'll get it full screen here so we're more. All right, so this is just a. This is something I actually photographed last week. I just moved to Seattle about a month and a half ago, and I really wanted to do some more food shooting because that's what I did before I moved out here. And you know, when you move, it's a big, huge hassle, and so I've been basically just catching up on some photographs, which I'll actually get to share after the food stuff here. But I just had this like craving, pardon the pun, to actually create some more food photographs. So I had these soba noodles in my my pantry, and I just, you know, but I still kind of needed that like inspiration, that pull to actually, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to shoot. So I walked out to Pike Place and I found these prawns that were just absolutely gorgeous and delicious. And just, you know, I went from there. I found the prawns and then I found all the veggies. So I just kind of cooked it all up, and it's more styled. This isn't really to eat. This is more styled than actually, you know, there's nothing like weird about it. It's just cold and not seasoned properly probably, but it's all food. It's all real food. So I use a lot of natural light when I do my food photography. Just it's accessible, it's easy, and I have a behind the scenes here. So this is my setup. This is just my living room, or my room. My place is kind of just one giant space, but this is my little living room food section of my space. And this is a very common setup that I use. I have everything backlit with window light. One of my entire walls, actually my entire wall that faces the city, is just a big wall of windows basically. So I have gorgeous light coming in when, you know, the sun shines and the light, you know, is coming from behind. And I do use a little bit of black foam board, just to kind of soften some of that light and keep it from creating too many reflections on the back of the food. And it's a really good tip if you're photographing anything like shiny, like soup, or I don't know, like I've had dishes of soy sauce before that, you know, just have this huge bright reflection on them, and by adding that black foam board behind it, it kills that reflection, so it looks like it should basically. And then I use the white foam boards. I just cut them in half and then gaffer tape them so they can stand on their own. And sometimes I use if you can see in the background over here, I have clamps that are just kind of helping keep them standing upright. And I'm on a tripod.
How did you make that graphic, by the way, over on the right?
Oh, I used this illustration. There's like these elements on iStockphoto.com, and I think I combined, this might be two different things combined together, but it's just like a lighting diagram, and then I just took all the pieces, you know, and just kind of positioned them where I wanted them to go.
Well, it's so professional.
Yeah.
Nicole, you do that blog called The Strobist, right?
I've seen it, yeah. Yeah.
No, you're the person that does that one with all this lighting stuff?
No, I don't do that.
No, I'm kidding. I know.
Not me.
I'm feeling like I'm watching The Strobist on TV.
Well, this is God-given light, you know. I'm not using crazy flashes of battery light, which I do sometimes, but not with stuff like this. And then I wanted to share. I have another kind of showing the importance of adding light to the front light to fill the front. You know, because we have backlight. That's my main light. And I'll kind of go back to this original one. You can see that the light's coming from behind, but I also have a lot of light in the front and the sides, of course. But that light from the front, as you can see in the diagram, I'm using a just handheld reflector, and I'm using my cable release to actually create the photo. And so I'll show. This is just another. It's just basically the same shot. It's just a little different angle. So this is without a reflector, and these are unedited too, by the way. They're just straight out of Lightroom. And then that's with a reflector.
Wow.
So there's like a real, you know, so that I think I used the gold side of the reflector, so it added a little bit of warmth to it as well. But that's just like, it's really important. You know, you could take this probably and you could throw it into Lightroom and you could bump up the fill light, but you're gonna kill your pixels and you're gonna add artifacts and you're gonna do all this stuff to it. So it's usually, you know, it's just, I would probably do some processing to this and maybe darken it a little bit, but it's, you know, it just adds that light that you really need to it. So. And then this is just, I just thought I'd share this. It's just kind of like a cliche stock photo that I do. I do this kind of stuff a lot. These are just friends. They're just normal, real people. They're not models. They're not actors. And, we came up with the idea of just having a little girl cut her finger, and she was like almost believable when she started crying that her finger hurt. So
Watch out for that one.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that goes in my my stock portfolio.
So they really cut her finger for the picture?
No, we didn't. I have some other shots. I don't have them here to share, but I have some. We took some fake blood and we put it on her finger. So there's kind of like a progression of her, with her finger cut, and her mom's soothing her, and then she's helping put the Band-Aid on, and then she's kissing it afterwards. So
You girls are so dramatic.
Those are your friends, but so you had to have them sign model releases, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Anytime anything that's used commercially, you pretty much need to have a model release. So.
Hey Nicole, have you seen that new model release iPhone app where they can just tap?
I haven't.
Yeah, I have.
Has anyone else heard of that?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And they can just sign it on your iPhone with their finger.
I've heard of those. I can't use stuff like that with the stock work that I do. I have to have everything hand signed and on printed paper. So I got to kill trees to have it work. So.
That photo reminds me of when Trey stayed at my house and got a paper cut on his face.
Wait, who were you? So you were the person kissing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas had to soothe me.
Thanks for that image.
I have a few more, and these are kind of just the happy Halloween pictures, I guess.
Oh, that's great.
This is also over the summer. I've just kind of been catching up on photos, so these are the ones I've been processing these and editing them and uploading them to my portfolio. But this was just the studio setting. I think I had a light overhead dropping down on them. I had a fill light right behind me, and then a light behind back to backlight them. And then we had a fan going on in the front. And then of course we had an amazing makeup artist to make them look all crazy. And then this is another one. I really like this one. This is my friend Dave Daniels. He's here. He's on Google Plus too. He's actually a photographer, but I convinced him to come to the event that we were photographing at, and he plays an amazing zombie. So he got to act and be all crazy, and I have a ton of photos of him as a zombie.
He looks a little bit like Robert Scoble, doesn't he?
A Scoble in the morning.
Oh, is that Dave?
That's Dave, yeah. Yeah.
Love that guy.
He's awesome. Yeah, he makes the best zombie. Like this look really scary in a weird way. So, but that's all my photos. So.
Thank you, Nicole. So if you guys don't know, you might, but like Nicole is one of, I think, the few people in the world that is like mega successful at selling stock photography. It's all through iStock Photo, is that right?
Yes, it's iStock Photo, and there are some of the photos that go through Getty, but mostly iStock. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great that you can make that work, because I know so many
people
like to make that work.
How many photos do you have on iStock Photo, Nicole?
I have probably about 6,500, somewhere in that range.
Wow, jeez.
Do you get daily reports? Can you log in and check and see how you're doing?
Yeah, I can. I watch my sales. Like every time someone licenses a photo, I see my sales increase, so I know when I'm making money. I know how my days are going on an hour, minute to minute.
Does your computer have a little app that goes cha-ching every time?
No. When I was on a PC, they used to have something that did that, but I don't think it would work anymore. Anyways, they've changed their site so much.
How are you addicted to checking? Do you check like every day or a couple times a day or once a week?
I'm sitting at my computer most of the time, so I go to the site and then I refresh and I watch to see what's actually being licensed. But
right.
I'm not really. I guess I'm not as addicted to it as I used to be. I think when I first started, it was more like I gotta refresh, gotta see what I'm making. Now it's just,
right. Now I go get a latte. I can get the venti.
Well, because I've been doing it for so long. Since 2006, but it's really only been like the last 2 or 3 years that it's been serious, I guess is the best word to put it. I have a good idea of what my sales are going to be on a weekly, a monthly basis. So I'm mostly just watching to make sure that it's staying in that range and that nothing, because I want to watch the trends. I want to see if anything is out of the ordinary, right. And then make sure there's no weird glitch happening and my portfolio disappeared or something like that, which has never happened. But, there's always that paranoia.
Right.
They give you like any analytics where you can kind of get an idea of which types of your images are selling better than others, and
there are a lot of people that make Grease Monkey scripts for the site, so we can I group a lot of my photos into light boxes, So I can, like let's say I have a white background. I have a bunch of white background photos. So I put them all in one light box. So I link them all together. I can go in and then see how much that whole light box is making and how, what monthly sales are on it. But iStock has I guess, kind of limited resources with that. So a lot of the contributors kind of jump in and help out. But I do also have like this really intensive that I actually got from a friend of mine that he shared his template, and it's like this stats chart that I keep track, and I put all of my information in. I keep pretty good, it's a business. It's not just,
So there's no like downloadable spreadsheet or reports and stuff like that.
They have things I think that you can download the stats, but I think you have to import them into other programs, and I don't have that set up.
Cool. Thanks, Nicole. I'll share some of my recent stuff here. I'll show a few successes and a failure, because maybe that would be interesting to people. And then after me, we'll have Lotus, and then we'll just gotta keep going around. Start with this one. You guys see that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in Paris. I staying at this cute little boutique hotel, and I was there with my wife and my friend Fabian Barral. He's our website designer. He happened to be in Paris up in the south, and he came to get us to take us to dinner. And about 50 feet away from the hotel door was this. This is the Sorbonne, the famous university in Paris. And, they have these street-side cafes, and the sun had just gone down, and all the lights were coming on. And, they're both, my wife and Fabian are used to me just stopping and setting up for a photo, and they just chat pleasantly off to the side while I do my thing. So this was, I think, a 5 exposure HDR. Anyway, what I'm showing you are all photos that I processed today. My kids had a birthday. I think kids' birthday parties should be illegal, and so they went out to go to those, and there's one of those multi-hour things. So I had time to myself. I was able to process some stuff finally. So anyway, this is the stuff I processed today.
Nice.
Okay, what's next? Let's get this one. This was in Switzerland, up in the Alps. And these mountains are so rugged and nice, and when the light goes low, you can see all the contrast and the range, and so on and so forth. This is another 5 exposure.
Did we lose his audio?
Do you never process multiple versions of the same shot then?
I think we lost him.
Wow.
So Thomas, describe this shot.
Boy, I have a lot of happiness increasing to do then. Right.
Oh, I do that. I do that.
Hey, Trey,
I do that if I have to refix a photo for iStock, because they have inspectors that go through the images. So if I mess something up, it's easier to go back and change it. I do it to teach too. If I need to go back and show and do a video tutorial on something, and I'm like, I know I did this to this photo, so I can start from scratch on it and show that technique.
Trey, in the chat room, people are saying they can't hear you, so I don't know if we have.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
That's odd.
I can hear him, but I've been having
hear him
problems
just
with other people.
I can hear you too, but the people that.
Yeah, that's weird. I can't hear him either. Which is why nobody else can hear him.
I think someone was having difficulty hearing Thomas
I
earlier
couldn't hear
too.
Thomas either, and I jumped out and jumped back in. And then
Isn't that funny? Because I had no problems hearing Thomas. Well, of all the people
one of you needs to reload the Hangout.
If I reload, it's going to lose the stream. How about you?
I'll reload.
Well, I don't know if that'll make a difference. I suppose it has to be me, right?
Oh, Keith, Trey's gonna leave.
He's going to try? All right, if that doesn't work, then I'll do it next. That was strange. That's the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, I think this particular hangout was a little buggy in the beginning.
Yeah, it started off really stuttery. It's clean now, but it was really stuttery when we first started.
I blame Scott Jarvie for this mess.
We'll just blame Scott Jarvie whenever.
Well, he's in the chat room, right? So he's hearing us.
He probably screw it all up, knowing Jarvie.
So are we waiting for him to come back? Or?
Yeah, yes. A Dave, send him a personal invite just in case he can't get back into the same hangout.
Sure.
The chat room says it's always Jarvie's fault.
Oh, we've lost Trey.
Yeah, well, he's coming back, hopefully.
All right, I'm going to take over.
Well, I think he said for Lotus to start sharing.
Yeah, Lotus was.
Oh,
Okay, that's why I was asking. So
Here, I'll take a photo of Trey's.
That sounds
I'm gonna
good to
take
me.
Photos of Trey's to share, and I'll talk about it.
Okay. And if he doesn't,
should I do that or not? Are we waiting, or am
no,
I?
I would say go ahead. And if he comes back and I still can't hear him after you're done, I'll have to leave and come back.
Okay. Can you see that?
I can.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Okay, so when we were talking earlier about out of focus shots, this was one of the ones that I was going to show when I was talking about that. This one and then also this one, I shared these both on G+. And I mean, I love them. I captured them like this on purpose.
You know they're not in focus, right?
That's kind of that's the kind of comments I was getting.
Beautiful.
So, and I mean, and one woman on this actual photo right here literally said that she was commenting just to let me know that it looked like I didn't know how to use my camera. So I find that, and these were captured that way, but then like stuff like this that I actually processed, to look that way. But I really like it. So that was why I was going to share those, but we kind of talked about that already. And then I have some shots. I do self-portraits a lot, and I started doing this bathroom self-portrait project about 2 years ago. I started doing this, and when I started it, I did it more to kind of make fun of people who do this, who take pictures of themselves in bathroom mirrors or whatever. And I realized after I started doing it over and over again as a joke that I really liked doing it, and it was fun to kind of look for cool looking bathrooms and stuff. So now I kind of have this thing where I try to create interesting photos, self-portraits in bathrooms, and I'm actually going to curate this as a theme. I'm not really big on all the G+ themes, but I think I'm going to do a bathroom selfie theme, and so that's kind of why I wanted to show these and kind of talk about that. Because they've become really fun for me now, and as I've started posting some of them on G+, people are responding really favorably to them, and they're pinging me when they post their own bathroom selfies, and it's become kind of this fun thing. So this one is actually my most recent one right here.
Hey, Lotus, is that a camera bag that you have? Or is that your purse?
On the first one, that is an Epiphany camera bag.
That's cool.
I love that bag. And Epiphany makes a lot of really awesome ones. They're really pretty, and they don't look like camera bags, but they're like, it's all sectioned off on the inside. I've got Velcro removable sections where I can put different lenses and stuff in there, and it's really nice. So yes.
Once I
And then I have my funky camera strap showing in this one. What did you say?
Once I accidentally walked into a woman's restroom.
Did you take a picture?
Oh.
It was an accident.
I've actually considered that it would be really funny if I tried to jump into a couple of men's rooms and do a couple of these too. But I don't know, that might be interesting down there.
Get a shot of you in the mirror and a bunch of guys you usually see their backs at the urinals.
Wouldn't that be great?
Awesome.
Oh, that would be really funny. But they would have to be friends. We'd have to stage that pretty considerably. But I do a lot of selfies, so I was going to share some of my favorites. This one got a really favorable response recently, which I found was really funny because when I posted it, I was afraid I was going to get that same "this is blurry crap" backlash kind of thing. And this one actually got a really, really favorable response. So you can never really tell, I think, what you're going to get. But then, let's see.
I think it's great.
What?
I think it's great. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
I really love this one.
It reminds me a little bit of Monet's painting of the woman at the bar. One of his final
Oh, cool.
paintings.
I hadn't thought of that. This was at Mi Tierra. It's a really great Mexican restaurant in San Antonio. Have you ever been there?
No.
No, it's really great. Anyway, this is one of my favorite self-portraits from this past year. I took in an elevator in San Diego, and this got a really, really favorable response too on G+.
I thought that was a mirror over your bed.
Oh.
No, I haven't taken any photos of that.
No, I have a mirror over my bed, and at the bottom it says, "Some objects may be larger than they appear."
Very nice.
Sorry, go on.
There's that, and then in the same hotel, actually, there were a lot of really great ceiling mirrors there, and I got this. I was actually on my way to a party, and I was walking through this kind of large area in between hallways. I looked up and saw this, and I had to stop and do the whole lens change thing and get on the floor down there and take this. But this was one that when I went back, it was a lot of fun, and I just really, really loved it. When I went back and looked at it, when I took it into Lightroom, I thought, well, it kind of looked dull. See, there's what it looks like on the left. I could have taken or left that. I mean, but I guess that's just kind of an example of how you can really make a photo a lot better in post. And I was kind of laughing because I was thinking when Nicole said, you know, get the light right on the food. But I find, you know, I don't always have, if it's something on the fly like that, I'm so glad that I can take it into Lightroom and make it, you know, do that stuff to it and change it. Oh, something new for me recently has been taking photos of buildings and architecture. That's something I never did before. Mostly self-portraits and nature stuff before. So I'm sharing this. This is just kind of an example of something that I felt was like a really big success for me.
It's great. Is that here in Austin?
Yeah, this is the parking garage at the Domain.
Oh, right.
So I was there in the early evening at a sushi place there, and leaving the sushi place and going back to the car, I saw this and I thought, man, that would look just beautiful. I mean, it was just starting to get dark and the lights, the colors and everything was really good. So I went over there and grabbed those. And that's the kind of stuff where I take my camera everywhere I go, everywhere, always. And, you know, having that camera bag is a really great thing because I could just carry it with me all the time. And it's stuff like this that I would totally miss this if I hadn't brought my camera, my big old camera with me to dinner. Because it was just a stop on the way to the car kind of thing. And the next two photos I was going to share just because it's an example of not really being sure what kind of reaction I'm going to get all the time on photos when I post them. This photo I was really in love with and took this recently in downtown Austin. And it didn't get really it didn't get a bad response, but it just didn't get the response I thought it would. And then I posted this like the next day and people just like fell all over themselves. And I took this with a point and shoot camera like several years ago. But the kind of cool thing about that to me is that it's like an example that I took this with my really expensive camera and lens, and I took this with a really cheap point and shoot. And this is the one that was the bigger success, you know, based on public response.
People really like bugs.
Is that it? Is that the issue there?
People really love bugs.
So,
Yeah,
but I like that. I like it when I can post a photo that was taken with like, you know, really low, really inexpensive gear or whatever. and it's as successful or more successful than, you know, something that was taken with the professional stuff.
No, you never really know what people will say. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with Thomas. You know, maybe 20% of the time I know I've got a winner. Yeah. But is that the same way it is with you, Thomas? But 80% of the time you have a pretty good feeling, but you don't know. You just kind of throw it up there to see what people think.
Yeah. I'm always really interested to see what people will respond to. It's like a social experiment every time I post a photo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Like I thought, and this one too, I thought this would get like this huge response because I just loved it so much, and I think people were just kind of weirded out by it. Didn't get that good of a response. And the next two photos are just, I thought they would be fun to share. I shot these. I have a whole bunch of stuff from Occupy Austin, and I thought it was kind of funny to see the difference. These women were probably like maybe 20 feet apart, and you've got like a totally different message between the two of them. You've got when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. A nice Hendrix quote there. I thought she looked really great, and it was really cool. And then we've got, you know, like 24 bucks 20 feet away.
Whoa, I thought this was a PG-13 show.
Yeah, I didn't get the memo.
It's NC-17.
Whoa.
So, and then the last photo I was going to share is just like a random shot of downtown Austin, and I figured I'd share that because I am going to be throwing together another Austin photo walk probably for mid-November. And nothing really, really detailed about that yet, but I'll be posting about it soon.
Sweet.
Excellent. Thank you, Lotus. So, Keith, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're coming in fine.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll go back to sharing what I was sharing, and I apologize to people immediately in the Hangout, but I'll repeat what I said about this one because I guess I was radio silent for everyone watching and for the recording. So for this one, these are the Alps in the late afternoon. The mountains are beautiful and rugged, and sometimes you have to wait for this late light in order to see how rugged they are. Because when the light's coming right down on them, they're still pretty, but you don't quite see how craggy they are until you get the, you know, incidental horizontal light coming at them. And these kind of shots, sometimes I will make black and white, and this one hardly has any color. But frankly, sometimes going black and white seems too easy. And if you see me do a black and white photo, it's I think the color one just came out so boring. Black and white can save a boring photo. That's not always the case. You know, I'm not saying black and white is always the easy, fail-safe choice at all, but the landscapes and mountains, it can be. But anyway, I left this one color, and I don't know why. I kind of like it. And also for the benefit of people that couldn't hear me before, these are all photos that I processed today while I had a bit of time alone while my wife was out with the kids at a birthday party, which thank God I didn't have to go to. So this is a 5-exposure HDR. This is an empty shed in Iceland. These are scattered all over the place there. And, you know, speaking of comments, I always put this stuff up, and, you know, I do read all the comments and so on and so forth. And I have different reactions to all the various types that come in. And, you know, there's always people that say, too much Photoshop. You know, to me, it's wonderful, and it glows, and it's nice, and it feels right. And it's really nice. But I do know that people see the world differently, and maybe they don't see it as colorfully or as remember it as romantically as I do. And it's okay. It's their loss. I see it like this, and I like to process like this too. Here's one from Queenstown in New Zealand. This is down on the lake that butts up against the main city there. The sun always sets behind those mountains, and you get that nice crepuscular light. Here is a failed shot that I worked on for about half an hour, and I don't think I'll ever post this because I just don't like the way it turned out. I don't know. These are the Luxembourg Gardens in Paris, and I took many, many shots here. I think I'm probably like Thomas and a lot of y'all, where I just collect as many compositions as I can. And this is the first photo that I decided to process out of Luxembourg Gardens shoot. I kind of selected it randomly out of all of them. I thought it might be interesting, but I just don't like it. I think it kind of falls apart in some way. So this will probably be the only time you see it because I think it's a failure and I won't ever publish it. This is a really cool church that wasn't on any maps. It wasn't in any tourist guides. It was in Paris, and I found it by accident just walking back from the Seine to my hotel. I saw something gothic and strange off behind some wrought iron fences, and I went in here. It was just amazing. I took a bunch of photos in here, and I geotagged this place and stuck on Earth so other people can find it too. But it was totally empty. You can use your tripod. No one is in there. And you could probably just tell from this shot that there are hundreds of little shots all over the place inside of there. Here's the last one. This is Zurich, Switzerland in the evening, in that dusk period. You know, this light only lasts about 5 minutes, so I always try to plan where I'll be at that little 5-minute interval so that I have something interesting. They've got these nice old buildings that line both sides of the river, and dozens of little bridges here and there. Anyway, I like the way that one turned out, and I was fairly happy with it. Stop sharing my screen here. Could you hear me the whole time there, Keith?
Yep, everything was fine.
Good. I know other people are having some sound issues too.
There was a Scott Jarvie problem earlier. It's been fixed now, I think.
Yeah.
Can we not just kick him off of the chat?
Yes, Scott's in the chat room.
How did he get in our chat, that guy?
Raising hell.
Should be a filter for that.
He is raising hell.
I think there's an extension for that.
Yeah. All right, well, who wants to go next? I had put up an order, but then I kind of lost my chat window, so now I don't know what's going on. Does anyone have photos ready to share?
I think I'm supposed to go next, so I'll just go and get it out of the way.
Don't say it like that, Erica. That's what you say when you go to the dentist or do something awful. This will be fun.
Okay. So let me figure out this screen sharing thing. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
You're Google, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, you work for Google.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you know someone that works at Google. You could ask.
Maybe. Oh, look,
Is
fancy.
that a Google TV in the background?
No, that's actually my husband's monitor
Oh.
or his computer. All right, share a selected window.
Erica does work with Google TV, though.
Oh,
I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So weird. Can you see that?
Yeah, we see it perfectly. It's great.
All right. So, let's see. Is it stretched? It looks stretched on my screen. Oh, it's not. All right. So this is flower that I shot recently, and I just wanted to share it because it's really, really basic. The mirror underneath is some random mirror that I bought from IKEA, and like the background is white poster board or white foam core or something. And the flower is just something that I got from the farmer's market. And so it's just, I guess it's a demonstration that you don't need to get a lot of fancy equipment and gear to make pictures that look like that. Next shot. Load. Okay. That's a photo I took last weekend at the last home game for the San Jose Earthquakes. I'm taking a sports photography class, and I shot this with a 7200 f2.8, and I think my shutter speed was maybe 640 and ISO 1600. And I really enjoy this picture, which is why I want to share it, because I like the sweat coming off the guy's head.
So, do they take the whole class to the soccer game? That's a really cool idea.
So we're lucky that the instructor, his name's John Todd, he teaches a sports photography class at Stanford. I think he does it every year. So if you are interested in that sort of thing, you should check it out. But anyway, he's the photographer for the Earthquakes, as well as the photographer for some Stanford sports teams. So whenever he's going to go shoot and it's a weekend, we will generally get access to that event. And so this time it was an Earthquakes game.
FC Dallas.
Very nice for us. We got field access, which is awesome. Next shot, you guys will recognize this person. That's Charlie on our last photo walk. Yep. Sharing this shot because I really like it. I think Trey looks amazing in it, and I was just, I don't know, it was a random shot, and that's why I wanted to share it, because you don't have to be like, all your shots don't have to be perfectly timed, or you don't have to get someone to pose to make a shot look good. This is Charlie actually like talking to someone who was squatting below her, telling her to do all this stuff, and she was kind of laughing at the things that they were saying, and so I just snapped that, and it came out nicely.
Charlie's got a flower in her hair, and so does Lotus tonight.
Yes. Flowers look good in hair. They should go there frequently.
Little information for everybody.
I left my flower at home.
So, this is my nephew. This is one of the first shots that I ever took with my D40. Years ago, back when I was first getting back into photography. I really enjoy the shot because the texture is kind of intense in his hair. I just wanted to share this because, again, random shots. This wasn't any sort of set up photo shoot or anything. It was just him after my sister's wedding, and I was like, stand there, and he stood, and I took a picture, and that's what happened.
It's really interesting the way it works with the back. I know you used a flash and everything. They say not to do that, but I think it looks great.
No, I mean, flash works well when it's really bright outside and the sun's behind them, I think.
Yeah.
I was trying to say something, but I didn't realize I had muted myself. So I was trying to say, Erica, I'm really so with you on that vibe of like not having to have a portrait, like a sitting for a portrait or whatever, to get good shots of people.
Yeah.
You get a really natural look when it's just kind of on the fly. The best photos I take overall, I think, are of my son, and it's never like planned. It's just like I have my camera and he's there, and I take photos of him, and people respond well to them. They're really natural, and just, I think that's kind of what you were saying, catching it just like with the photo of Charlie where she was smiling and it was just really natural and beautiful.
This photo, yeah. I prefer natural versus posed.
Yeah.
But that's just a personal preference.
Yeah, me too. I love that. That's great.
Hey, Erica, have you noticed, do you know what it is about you and, probably everyone in this hangout and photographers, but, you're able to go through, you probably took like 50 pictures of Charlie or whatever, 10, I don't know. But you can pick out that one frame that looks good. But I've noticed that there are certain photographers out there, or I don't know what to call them, people that take photos, that are unable to pick the best frame. They always pick something where there's something a little bit off, or expression is just a little bit, funky. Have you always been able to do that, or did you have to work up to it, or do you just know instantly?
I think I've always been able to do that. So some random background about me. My dad used to take pictures a lot. Like he used to, amateur, what is it called these days? Prosumer, back before that term existed, with film. So I got a lot of experience taking photos with him, and I did a lot for my yearbook when I was in high school. And so I got really good at picking photos because the ones that I picked were going to end up printed in a book. So that was, yeah. But yeah, that's how I got experience doing that. I'm not sure that had I not had that experience, I'd be able to pick frames like that. Anywho, last shot. This is a photo I took, in 2008, maybe 2007. I picked this one because it's one of my favorite shots ever. I'm actually leaning out of the back window of this car as it's driving and taking a picture as they're going down the street. And yeah, it's super random. Like, we were driving from my dad's house to a restaurant in Florida or something, and I was like, I'm just going to lean out of the window and take a picture for some random reason. I don't remember why. I think because there was another car behind us that I wanted to take a picture of, but I just, I was like, let's try a picture of the wheel. And this is what happened. And I just, again, happy accidents, random photos, just I think my idea here is that you just always want to keep shooting, no matter what, where you're at, or whatever. Something
I love
good
the way
will
the road
happen.
came out in that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a great
Trey
photo.
was driving in that picture?
What's that?
Trey was driving in that picture?
Yeah, we were in a car chase, and we had someone hanging out the other window with a gun.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah. It was good times.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I
if
think
there was like a cop with his lights on in the back, it'd be that much better.
Yeah. No, I don't want to be Thomas with the
Cheers.
cops telling me I shouldn't be out of the car window.
Cheers, Thomas. What vintage is that you're throwing down today?
This is, we're almost done with the bottle here, which is probably not a good sign. This is a Bordeaux 2005. So,
All right.
More wine for me too.
And who else is drinking wine? Nicole, you're drinking wine, right?
Yeah. I've got some cheap
Beer.
stuff though.
Good.
Some
All
wine.
right.
I got some wine.
Eric, are you drinking it
Cheers,
right out of the
everyone.
bottle?
No. I was just pouring myself a new glass, and I.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave.
You know what I discovered recently is if you just stick a twisty straw into the wine bottle, you don't have to wash a wine glass later.
By a twisty straw, do you mean one of the ones with all the loops in it and everything?
Yeah, come on, it's way more fun that way.
Or you get one of those giant plastic pixie sticks, and then you dump all the sugar out. You can get that big straw that's left and just stick it in the bottle.
All right, Cliff. What are you up to? Show us some of your magical stuff.
Well, I've been up to, I just got a Smoke Mug account not too long ago, so I've been trying to dump everything over to it. It's been a huge process. So, but what's been cool is just kind of going back and seeing my progression of photography and art all together. So I'm just going to kind of go through a smorgasbord of a few things here. Let me get it organized. Let's see.
It's always a pain to reorganize your photos on a new site, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's fun, but you don't have to do it all at once either. It's so.
Yeah. You're sharing I can't share my desktop. It won't let me share.
It should be the first option.
Well, I was wondering I have two monitors. I have my MacBook Pro and then I have a 27-inch. And I think it gets confused on what a desktop is.
So okay, I started off as an artist, as a painter. I wanted to be an illustrator. I went to art school for that, and soon realized that I needed to make money. So painting kind of became a hobby, but it's something I love. Then I had a kid, and then time disappeared. So I had to find something of a creative outlet that didn't take 40 hours on one piece to complete. So this is just an acrylic on canvas. So I moved to stained glass, which I started. It fulfilled my artistic desires with not taking as much time, but so I just kind of added that total to my arsenal. I've always loved art. I love to be surrounded by art, so I make it. My house looks like a gallery and like the real world on MTV. So I like that. I like to surround myself with pretty things. This is what I've just worked on this last week. This is what I do for Justin. Some of the stuff. Take the photo and then cut it away to illustrate the different components of the boot. So that's what I do for money.
It's a pretty comfy looking boot. I thought they only made cowboy boots.
No, they make all kinds. Well, there's 5 different companies there, so they make anything from hiking boots to cowboy boots, any type of boot. Justin Brands covers it.
So
Did you have to cut that apart?
Well, yeah, I've got actually. They give me a boot that's bandsawed in half, and then they give me the components to look at. So I photograph it and then just kind of dissect it in Photoshop.
Cool.
Okay, this is a non-HDR photo. One of the few. Of course, this one's kind of for Keith there for his theme park theme.
That makes my stomach flip upside down just thinking about going down that.
That is
Really beautiful photo.
That's the type. at Six Flags Over Texas, and it is the ultimate rush.
Which ride is that, Cliff?
The Titan.
Okay, yeah, that one's crazy.
So, this was, I love textures. I was introduced to textures by Trey a couple of years ago and have really taken to them a lot. I like the magical feel that they create. This is something a little different. Living here in Fort Worth, we've got the stockyards not too far away. So this is one I took a year or so ago and thought it was kind of different from anything I've seen before. It's kind of neat.
It's nice.
Yeah, I like that.
So on my last trip, I went to Page, Arizona, and to Burning Man and Las Vegas and Photoshop World, and did all sorts of cool stuff last month. And this was in Page, Arizona. I've always wanted this shot, and I got lucky enough to be having a storm coming in at the same time. So I'm really happy with this one.
Is that lightning and a tornado?
There's no tornado. It just
looks like a little tornado just to the right of the lightning.
That's
like rain,
rain.
probably.
That's rain coming in.
Yeah.
This was interesting. I was the last one to leave this place. I brought my step ladder and my 5-foot PVC tripod extenders so I could, because I'm a freak on heights, so I'm back a little bit, but I'm up higher than everybody else. So it worked out really well. This was on the same trip. The next day I went to the Antelope Canyon and got these shots. What's so deceiving about this place is you're there with 500 other people in the cave, and there's people basically tucked around every corner here. But I took the photographer's tour, so the guides are kind of like holding the people back, saying 30 more seconds, this and that. So it's really a whirlwind of an experience. But once you come back and take a look at all the brackets you got, it was really well worth it.
I didn't know they were that touristy.
Oh man, I'm serious. It was just like,
jeez,
I can't even explain it. It was like Six Flags in there.
Well, you have to take a tour too, don't you? When
Yeah,
you go
it's on private land owned by the Indians, so they have to take you back in, and also you have to go back in a 4x4 because it's about a mile of driving in rural, just deep sand. So they've got these huge 4x4s jacked up, and they line the backs with about 12 people and take them all out there. So.
You get to do peyote at the end of the tour?
Yeah, well, I did peyote before I went in, just, so I can get the visions, so, yeah.
I can kind of tell a little bit.
It's a beautiful photo.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Do they throw the sand into the beam?
They do.
Right.
They throw the sand so it gives it the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my external shutter release in one hand and my rocket blower in the other. Speaking of sand or dust, this was a Burning Man, of course. I'm never not going again. It was the most awesome thing I've ever done in my life. So this was Chiron, one of the awesome sculptures out there. And it was cool. Trey was like right next to me, right?
Yeah, we were there together. It was a nice evening. That's the time to go because it's cool and wear a sweatshirt and take photos and it's there's no shortage of it's a target-rich environment there.
Yeah.
So sleep during the day and shoot at night?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm really lame at Burning Man because I had taken an RV and I just crank up the air conditioning and I just take naps like a cat in the middle of the day and then I go out at night. I don't like all the heat and the sand, but I like it at night. It's wonderful at night. Yeah. Thanks for showing us those, Cliff. Those are cool. I know Thomas is going to Burning Man. Is anyone else going to go?
I am going next year.
You are?
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So everybody in the room is going to Burning Man next year.
Yeah, we're going to make a big photographers camp.
All right.
I've heard many horror stories about sand getting everywhere, so that kind of makes me wary. I want to go one day.
Is this like a prelude to Burning Man photo or something?
No, this one was at the zombie photo walk, just like last weekend. What y'all were talking about, the open air at the moment kind of shot. That's what this is, just out on the street.
Just a zombie out on the street.
I love how perfectly in focus that drop of blood was.
Yeah, I just got this new 80 to 200 2.8. It's an older Nikon lens, but it's not the VR or anything. But it's only $700 off eBay, and I'm in love with it. It's awesome. Speaking of zombies, Mr.
So,
Jackson.
Erica, by the way, that's the main camera that I use at Burning Man. It's just a little, Olympus Pen Micro Four Thirds camera. I only got out my big camera for about 5% of the shots, but it doesn't. Once you take a lot of photos, you can pretty much use any old camera and get something interesting.
What kind of
That
shelter
I'm
were
scared
you?
about.
The snorg tees that you were wearing?
It might have been.
I love the Pee Wee Herman bike too.
Oh, Cliff made me that bike, my fur-covered bike. I even had a fur-covered iPod holder inside the bike.
Trey,
The
what
Trey,
kind
were
of
you
Up at night,
shelter were
nervous
you
did
in?
about
everything.
getting sand in your camera? Is that why you didn't use it?
Yeah, I
primarily?
didn't want to take my big cameras out very much at all because of the sand thing. But if you just don't change lenses, then you're in good shape. And you definitely don't want to change lenses when you're outside. But really, it's a great opportunity to get familiar with these new Micro Four Thirds cameras and take one of those out, and it's got a very flexible lens, and there's all kinds of things to take pictures of.
Your photos were beautiful. So.
Thanks. What I did, Lotus, is I just would find the photo that I wanted and then pull the camera out of my bag, take the photo, and bag it real quick again. So that
Okay.
kept it, it's working fine. There's no issues whatsoever.
So are,
Okay.
are people walking around when they're taking photographs with their cameras in bags, or are they just exposed and they're just doing it quickly?
Well, I had two cameras. I had a D80 just to sling around that I just got off Craigslist before I went for like $300. So I mean, at one point, that thing was completely opaque with dust.
Wow.
So
Wow.
See, this
Yeah,
sounds like
you
the
know.
downside to this now.
yeah, no, it's great. It still works fine. It's perfect.
Yeah, nothing to worry about there. So, Cliff, you're going back. You're going to take your son, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My wife and kid. We're all gonna go, and hopefully we'll
Yeah,
have
I'm
a party
going.
by then and do it up right.
Yeah, I'm going with the same setup as you. There's this special camp there. We'll come visit this photographer's camp that Lotus and Thomas are putting together. But there's a special camp there for, it's called the Kidsville, right?
Yeah,
And
I've joined their chat. I've joined their Google group or whatever.
and how many kids do they have there?
They had 651, right?
Oh, I bet
Yeah.
kids have a blast there.
Yeah,
Yeah, mine
it's
will.
wild. It's like this Mad Max little commune they set up. This kind of roped off, huge square with all these parents and kids. And
Man, my son would love that.
So do they try
It's a
to?
lot of
Yeah,
fun.
did the kids battle in the battle dome?
They got like trampolines.
Yeah, little battle domes, yeah.
But do they try to like shelter the kids at all from the Burning Man scenes, or do they just not worry about it?
Well, I mean, it is kind of an issue. I'm no hippie or druggy or anything like that, and that's really sort of. I'm afraid that's what people think all Burning Man is. It's not really like that at all. But you do see a lot of naked girls. You do see a lot of
Wayner.
strange things going on. But in some ways, my son is 11, almost 11, and it's not the end of the world if he sees that stuff. It's no big deal. I think it's
These aren't going to
I
kill
think it's more
anybody.
about I think it's more about the parents and this and that. Plus it's just such an awesome experience in other ways. Cliff and I were talking about what it's like to ride around at night when every single bike is lit up, and there's just tens of thousands of sculptures and pieces of art that are lit up, and I can't imagine what that would do to my son's
Fire
mind.
going
If
off
I could have seen
everywhere.
that when I was 10,
Lasers.
I would have been a much different person now if I had seen that growing up. It would have really opened my mind and artistically. I'm happy that I can see it now. And there's still a 10-year-old inside of me, but yeah. Does anyone else have any interesting photo trips coming up other than Death Valley? This Death Valley outing of Thomas's?
I'm going to Vietnam in a week. I'll be in Vietnam in a week.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be there for 3 weeks.
Excellent.
Cool.
Pretty much just a photography vacation. So kind of work, I guess, but
That's awesome.
And what are you going to take with you? What kind of camera stuff?
well, that's always the challenge. I have an idea of what I want to bring, but it comes down to when I'm actually packing. I'm thinking I have an X100, so I'm going to bring that, but I'm also going to bring my 5D Mark II. Just I have one SLR, and I'm going to bring my GoPro because I want to do some video and some time lapse. And if I have room in my bag, I'll probably bring a second SLR as a backup, because the only reason I'm going there is to take photos. So I'd hate to have something happen to my main camera and then kind of be stuck with like a GoPro, or I guess I could probably get along with my X100, but I'll bring my 24 tilt shift, 70 to 200, and a 50, and probably my 14 millimeter. And that's kind of, and then of course all the peripheral things like release, tripod, filters. So.
Yeah. What are you doing about insurance and stuff? Or are you just going to wing it?
I have travel insurance, and I don't know how much that covers on my my gear, but I do have business insurance that covers my gear, so it covers it anytime it's on land. So I should be good to go. I need to actually. That reminds me, it's one of the things I'm doing is one of the things that I haven't done yet is I haven't created an inventory of all of my stuff that's like over. I think they want things that are over, a couple $1,000s or whatever. So I'm going to I need to send that off to my insurance company. So that way, if anything happens to my stuff, but I have a Pelican case. So that's going to be, I have the 1510, which is a nice travel size carry-on. It's got, it's like a normal carry-on suitcase. So I'm going to use that as my main camera bag. I also have a messenger bag I'm going to use when I'm walking around, but I can lock that thing up. And I bought one of those kind of like a bike lock that you can connect, around your bag. And then I plan on locking that to something in my hotel room when I'm not there. Lock it to something, that can't move. Exactly. That's exactly the plan.
I'm going to go to Detroit in January. There, January 5th.
Cool. That'll be a nice trip. Are you going to do abandoned stuff or neon stuff or both?
I'm going out there for that Ford for the big auto show.
Oh, right.
Ford. Right, and then I'm going to, take some time and shoot a bunch of the business stuff.
Cool. Well, do me a favor and hit Stuck on Earth hard and really use it to plan your trip and give me feedback. That's exactly what it's made for. Going to some place you don't know and trying to figure out the best places to go shoot.
Yeah,
This has been the only time I've been sad that I don't have an iPad.
Yep. Me too.
It's a cool app.
Serious.
Really
I
cool.
thought I just to try it out.
I want access to it. I don't have an iPad.
Well, because of the Stuck on Earth app, I'm pretty sure this will work. I'm gonna bring I don't have any way of GPSing my photos from my SLR or my X100 or my GoPro. So my plan is to use my iPhone and on airplane mode, and I've tested it locally. And if you create photos with just an airplane mode, it still embeds the GPS data into the phone, into the image. So, and I tested it with somebody else. I had somebody else turn it to airplane mode and take a photo and email it to me. And I looked at it on, I think I threw it onto Flickr, and it pinpointed it within a 2-block radius. So my plan is to carry my iPhone with me just for photography and basically take photos every so often, or if I'm really set up to get a nice long exposure or something. And then I can keep somewhat of a documented GPS coordinates of the general areas that I am. So that way I can, it's for my own personal use, but it's also, I can put photos then on the app and
Cool.
I think you can get like a GPS logger app that'll check once in a while and just pull down your location and store it.
I have one of
go
those,
back
but
later and play that for all your images.
I have one. I downloaded one, but I'm kind of worried it's going to eat the battery life. I did, and I actually ended up buying one of those extra, I have one of those massive battery packs now for my iPhone.
Those thick daddies.
Yeah, I thought I'd try it out, and it'd be good for traveling.
A lot of people don't realize, too, you can turn the Wi-Fi on even though you're in airplane mode if the airplane has Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I've done that before, too.
Yeah, I actually had a terrible experience with my iPhone in Italy. like I don't know what you do, Trey, because I know you have an Android, or because I was all obsessed with iPhones and everything before the trip, and it was just terrible. Because I went to Italy with a client to shoot his wedding and everything, and he had an Android phone, and I spent like $30. It was no big deal to unlock my iPhone and jailbreak it before the trip so that I could use it, because I knew that we were going to be separated a lot of times.
Right.
We'd have to call each other to figure out a place to meet up and stuff like this. And so we got to Milan, was our first stop, and we just walked into a store. It was called Tim, I think. So they sold these Tim cards, and it was just an international data plan, and it was awesome. It was €7, and you got 10 gigs of data, which is basically unlimited.
Right.
You got 60 minutes and like 50 texts, and that was it. There was no strings attached, and the first week was free, and we were only there for 11 days. So it sounded like the best deal on earth. So he bought his, and I bought mine. And I know that my iPhone was unlocked, because this certain app won't show up on your phone unless it's unlocked, and it did. So everything was good. So I popped it in, and nothing happened. And he popped his in, and he was up and running in like 10 minutes. He had to do a very small amount of stuff, and he was making calls and using Google Earth to get to places we were trying to find and stuff like that. And it was just terrible. So my phone was about as useful as a brick the whole time we were there. And his wife had an extra Android phone. So when we went to Venice, she actually gave me her phone so we could find our hotel, because the water taxis were on strike. So we had to walk 45 minutes from the train station to our hotel. So I just used her phone and used Google Street View, and it gave us walking directions, and we'd go through these little alleyways.
You mean her Android phone?
Yeah, her Android. So, but I was it just put a really bad aftertaste in my mouth for the iPhone. I think I'm going to probably get rid of it as the first chance I get.
Yeah, Android has been great for traveling. I just pop a SIM card in wherever I go. And
so do you have different cards for each country that you visit frequently?
I do. I leave the country, and I burn the card like a spy. And then I get a new one in the next place I go to. They're so cheap. They're like nothing, And you have a different phone number when you're there, but that's fine. I just use it for data and Google Maps and Google Plus or Twitter or whatever.
It was very frustrating because anytime I needed to make a phone call, I'd have to go back to our hotel room and plan accordingly. Anytime I wanted to use the internet, I have to go back. And
well, the other thing that it's great for is I just flip it on and turn on a Wi-Fi hotspot. I connect two devices to it, so I connect my iPod or my iPad, my wife's iPad. Then the phone has internet, or iPads have internet. It's awesome, and I know that's almost impossible with an iPhone.
They're great for in the States, but as soon as you start traveling or asking questions, they kind of fall apart.
Yeah, Dave, are you gonna get this new Android that's coming out, this Nexus?
I would love to. Right now, they've only announced it available on Verizon. I'm hoping that it'll be announced on Sprint, since I'm still locked into my contract there.
Aha.
When is that one coming out? When is that thing coming out?
In November, it should be available on Verizon, I think.
I heard some people say that the Razr might be better. Motorola
The Razr has really great specs. I prefer just having the clean Nexus, the Google branding without any kind of Motorola stuff added on top, and it's pretty much guaranteed to be unlocked and get a lot of updates quickly. And
yeah, I'm with you. Have they said much about the camera on that one?
the camera when they did the little keynote thing in China, I think it was last week.
Yeah,
they demoed the camera and it was pretty great. The pictures were pretty much instant.
Yeah, it looked fast, but did they say megapixels or anything like that?
If I recall correctly, I want to say like 5 or 7.
Okay, interesting.
We should ask Erica. She's probably been using it for the last year.
She probably can't talk about it.
Yeah.
I have it in my hands in a
1080p
top
videos.
camera right now.
Do you really have it in your hands?
I really do.
Oh my gosh!
It's like nerdy.
Because they get them
Erica
first.
can give us the better spec.
Yeah, they get them.
the specs.
They get them
I
first.
cannot.
We can see it in the reflection of your glasses. Yeah.
Just pull it up really quick and then back down. And we'll try
No,
to.
see, I like being employed.
No, she's a good employee at Google. We don't want to mess with that. All right. Well, we can wrap it up here. Does anyone have any final parting questions or remarks or anything?
I have one last photo to share.
Oh, please go ahead.
Since I brought up the drinking wine with the twisty straw, I thought I'd prove that I was not lying.
Awesome.
That's it.
I love it.
That's what I'm going to picture you doing right as soon as we end this hangout. You're just going to go stare at yourself in the mirror like that while you drink wine. Well, cool. Thanks everybody for coming. We're going to officially end the recorded part of the broadcast now, but you don't have to leave by any means. But thanks for coming and thanks for showing your pictures and all that good stuff. I appreciate it. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.